Okay, we can start now.
Finally. Look, you didn't got seconds to spare. Well, the official time has arrived according to Verizon, which is what we all live by around here anyway. So we're going to go ahead and call this meeting of the Tyler County Commissioners Court to order. Let the record reflect that the full complement of court is present. This meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, and Madam Clerk, has it been posted in accordance with
Yes,
Chapter 551?
According to Kelly, it has.
Okay, so both the posting and the website as well. With that being said, we welcome our guests. We have a plethora of folks that are with us today. Mark, it's good to have you here, and we'll have an introduction of you in just a moment. So to all of our guests, we are glad that you're with us, see how county government functions. And with that being said, we want to give you a disclosure. This court practices an invocation and a pledge of allegiance. And if there's any present, either in person or listening by audio or video, and you're not comfortable with our practice, we invite you to step out into the hall and rejoin us once we get into our agenda. With that being said, you can mute your line or step out. And we rotated among the commissioners, and this morning, Commissioner Marshall was responsible for the invocation and pledge. And with that, Commissioner Marshall?
Yes, I ask Brother Mark to do our invocation this morning.
Let us pray. Father, we're thankful for this meeting today and all that will happen here. Father, we pray that you will bless it. And Father, we pray that the results will be those that would benefit our county and everybody who lives here. Father, thank you for every employee of Tyler County. Father, I pray a hedge of protection over them, their families. And Father, we're just grateful for all of the work that they do here. Father, we continue to pray for our leadership here. We pray for state leadership, for national leadership. Father, we pray for world leadership today. Father, especially today, we remember our friends in Ukraine and all that they're going through. Father, continue to bless them and give them what they need as they defend their country. Father, for our good friends in Florida who are recovering from hurricanes, Father, we know all about that. We pray that you would continue to be with them and bless them. Father, all this I pray in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Okay.
Salute, pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mark. You're always welcome to stay, but we know you have other needs to attend to. Oh, yep. All right. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone who has signed up for public comments this morning?
No, sir, we don't.
All right. That'll take us then to tabled items, which is Roman numeral 2 on your agenda. And Commissioner Marshall, there's one item you wish to have that removed from the table for action.
Denise, do we do it on the other?
No, we need to leave it on there. We're looking for someone for the Warren School District in Hardin County.
All right, thank you. Then that'll take us to our consent agenda. We have both minutes and monthly reports as standing items on there. Do we have any minutes that you wish for us to take action on?
It's September 26th.
All right,
Motion to approve or accept the minute.
from September 26th. Second. And thank you, Commissioner Hudson has the second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item number B is monthly reports, and we were provided for the auditor and the report, and as well as the budget report. So that completes all of the items that are on there. Is there a request to set any of them aside for conversation or discussion, or would you like to go ahead by consent, receive all the monthly reports submitted?
Motion will receive. Second.
Okay, there's a motion with second. for receiving of the monthly reports. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, so that'll take us to item number 4, and that's our resolutions. Item number A on Roman numeral 4 is the adoption of the 2023 resolution for indigent defense grant. This is an annual program that the county has historically participated in, and we received it just in time for it to get onto the agenda for the deadline that they were requesting it. So I sent it over to Kelly, and she's got it on here. You've got copies of that, and if it's the pleasure of the court, then we'll go ahead and act in the formal capacity with the resolution. And then we've got a copy of the actual indigent defense, so that will satisfy that. So,
Need a motion.
yes, sir, please.
Motion to approve the resolution.
All right. There's a motion with second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? And so that'll take us to item number B on our resolutions, and that is our proclamations, rather. And as for the Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and Commissioner Blacksher has that, but I think he's got a comment. Is that right?
I so move. Judge, would you read?
Sure. Let's go ahead and then act upon, and then I'll read. How about that? All
Sounds
in
good.
favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? And you have a copy you'd like to read?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. I was in remedial reading when I was in elementary school. Tyler County, Texas, proclamation declaring October 2022 Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Whereas the Commissioner of County, Texas, in recognition of the importance of work done by survivors, domestic violence programs, and victim survivor providers, hereby urges all citizens of the county to actively participate in the activities and programs sponsored by Family Services of Southeast Texas, Inc., Texas Council on Family Violence, and other community organizations to work toward the elimination of intimate partner violence. Whereas more than 10 million women and men are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States each year. Domestic violence encompasses a pattern of behaviors used to gain or maintain power and control over a victim, and in many cases, physical violence reinforces other forms of psychological and emotional abuse, such as threats, intimidation, and isolation. Severe intimate partner violence can include instances of physical assault, rape, and stalking that leave victims with injuries, post-traumatic stress disorder, and other lasting impacts. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting individuals and society as a whole, here in this community, throughout the United States and the world. And whereas the need for safe house continues to be rated as survivors' most urgent need, and whereas the Commissioners of Tyler County, Texas, join with others across the county and the country, in the state of Texas and the nation, in supporting victims of domestic violence, as well as local programs, state coalitions, national organizations, and other agencies nationwide who are committed to increasing public awareness of domestic violence and sending a clear message to abusers that domestic violence is not tolerated in Tyler County. Whereas domestic violence impacts millions of people each year, but it can be prevented. Preventing domestic violence requires the collective voice and power of individuals, families, institutions, and systems, each of whose service adds a valuable and powerful component to transforming our communities. Whereas the color purple is the color nationally recognized to represent the fight against domestic violence. And Tyler County recognizes the showing of purple ribbons at homes, schools, businesses, and public facilities as the sign of solidarity against domestic violence. Now, therefore, I, Jacques Blanchette, County Judge of Tyler County, along with the Commissioners Court, do hereby proclaim October 2022 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So let us stand in solidarity with domestic violence survivors and thank the countless law enforcement officers, advocates, medical personnel, and caregivers who dedicate their lives to fighting for a world without family or intimate partner violence. And together, let us all carry out the mission of creating a community that is safe for all. In witness hereof, we attach our hands and affix the seal of the county this 11th day of October, 2022. And it has a place for all of us. All right. So, kind of sobering information, isn't it? Think about what's going on in our world around us. So all of those who are present that represent the support for individuals, God bless you in your work that you're doing to help bring some comfort and consolation in that particular arena. All right. With that being said, is there a request, Commissioner, for any kind of a acknowledging of any present that
If
represent-
anybody, is Miss Allen here? Matt, would you like to acknowledge anyone? We have family services people. Okay.
We have the individuals from Family Services of Southeast Texas here with us. If y'all will stand.
Thank you. So y'all are some of the front line.
Right, and they also are having an open house reception. This is the group who provided an office for it with the victims of family violence. So today they're having an open house, correct, and from 11 to 2 can come down and meet and greet them. If y'all would like to come up and take a picture with us with the proclamation.
You can stand right
Stand
behind
right
us.
behind us,
We
yeah.
can get a picture. Cindy, aren't you plugged in locally in this capacity somehow?
Well, I'm glad you remember that that was my professional job, but I continue to do that every day as a volunteer with your family since I was.
Would you stand representing the county and
Yes, Cindy,
join us?
your presence is required. Your voice.
You're more than welcome.
That's how I first came up here.
Right.
1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6.
2, 3.
Good deal. Thank you all. Now, do y'all have cookies and punch? Is that what?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Should have lied lunch.
I have to come back twice.
That might be real life. Y'all feel welcome to stay with us. However, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just wanted to say something to the commissioners and everybody in the county. I'm Deborah Palmald, and I am the Executive Director for Family Services of Southeast Texas. And I just wanted to say that we are so grateful to be here. We are so grateful for the office that you have provided for us. And we are hoping that this is the start of a partnership between us and the county, that we can prevent domestic violence and fight domestic violence together, because we can't do this on our own. And we would like for you guys to come over. We'll have light lunch, and we'll also have some red ladies outside. If you see red ladies, they will represent every single year of how many fatalities we have in the state of Texas. So you can go visit them outside. They will be outside. They will be wearing their shields proudly. And as I said, this is not just a women problem. This is everybody. So we wanted to say thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Deborah. Thank you.
So we're gonna go set up, and we wanted you to come by and visit.
Thank you. Right. Let me pause just a moment here to regroup. Yes. If it pleases the court, item number 5W is the acceptance of our 2021 annual audit presented by Bell Harrison Pahachik. And they are here, and as I say, if it does please the court, the courtesy of making their presentation, their work is complete and they're ready to present their findings to us. And no objection to it. Okay. With that being said, we want to go ahead and acknowledge that under Roman numeral 5, item W is leaving with the acceptance of it, then we'll have a present. With that being said, Robert, feel welcome to.
Well, thank you very much. What a tremendous honor it is for me to come to you today. My name is Robert Bell. I'm the managing partner of Bell Harris Pahachik, and with me is Darla Bell Deer, who is coincidentally my sister. And we are both originally Tyler County resident. She is currently living here. I currently live in Houston, again, so it is an honor to be back. We are fifth generations Texans. We came back in the 1830s. Our family came to Tyler County, operated a ferry along the Neches River. So again, it's an honor to be back up here. Had an equal honor this past year to go present before Stephen F. Austin State University and present a report to them, which is also where I went to college. So that was a very neat experience to go do for me, kind of a career highlight since I got my degree from there. At the time, there was a bit of a rift between the faculty and the president, and some of the faculty were taking exception to the fact that they thought out specifically had gotten a Stephen F. Austin graduate to come present a report to them, and we had to kind of present to them, well, that wasn't exactly the case. Because we had also done work with the University of Texas system, A&M system, Texas Tech system, Sam Houston, Lamar, Midwestern University, and Texas Tech. So we've done a lot of work for other universities within the state of Texas. So that question, I think, was kind of raised this past year about why are we doing this audit here since we are local. And again, we are very proud of the fact that we are local. But I've also audited approximately 200 other counties during my career. So I feel very good about the quality and assurance and independent report we can provide to the county this year. Also understand it's a very controversial year for the county. A lot of discussions about the ARPA funds and whether it was or was not legally spent. I believe all that's been resolved now, and that's a great thing. I spend a lot of time, in addition to doing audits, going in and doing forensic reports, trying to get communities to move past specific issues, because issues divide communities. Until you get past those issues, then it's hard to bring the whole group together. So I'm hoping the legal resolution of that particular item will allow the county to operate in a more cohesive manner. With that being said, I just want to kind of recognize all the individuals involved in the county world. It's such a decentralized system. Everybody has their hands in the financial statement process. Commissioner's court, the judge, the commissioners, approving the initial budget sets the whole process in motion. We work extensively with the property tax collector, the district clerk, the county clerk, county auditor, county treasurer. We get to work with everybody just about during the process. And so I just want to recognize everybody that had a hand in this process of putting this document down in the historical record books for Tyler County of what took place in Tyler County for this year. This document will be used for years from now by financial underwriting agencies and things of that nature to go back and look and to see if the county was operated in a good stewardship capacity. Did you comply with laws and regulations? Did you do all the things? And so I'm very proud to be associated with all the hard work that you guys have done throughout the year. I'll move over to our opinion letter. Our opinion letter is an unmodified report, which is the highest level of assurance that we can provide to the court that all the disclosures required by the general accepted accounting principles have been included and the financial statements are materially correct. So that is exactly the type of report you want to be receiving here today. There's also a separate report on the single audit. Anytime you receive over $750,000 in federal funds, you're required to contract with your independent auditors to do an audit on behalf of the federal government to make sure that all of the federal government requirements were adhered to. We are consistently, the last 10 years, we've been the top 2 to 3 producers of single audits in the state of Texas, so we're very knowledgeable about doing single audits and compliance with laws and regulation. And again, very pleased to report, this report is also an unmodified report. There were no findings associated with that report. So that is excellent news to be receiving here today. There's a lot of financial information in the document. I know the concern is always that the accountants and executives start reading all the numbers. So I'm always not to read all the numbers to you. But if you were just going to look at one page in the entire document, page 28 and 29 is the page I would direct your attention over to. Hopefully I can make out the numbers. Unlike your teacher, there's nothing you can do about reading your eyesight kind of starts going. But over on page 28 and 29 is a statement of revenues, changes, expenditures, and fund balance for the year ended December 31st, 2021. The general fund is presented in the far left-hand column. Expenditures came in at $10,586,000. Total expenditures came in at $10,955,000. After taking into account some operating transfers and uses, there was basically a net reduction in fund balance for the year of $360,000. You began the year with a fund balance of $6,820,000, and you ended the year with a fund balance of $6,460,000 for the year. Again, what that makes in just plain layman's terms is in the governmental world, the financial world, financial analysis will always look at your fund balance in comparison to your total operating expenditure. You hear them talk about the rainy day fund. They're always wanting to make sure that you have enough money in the bank to make it 2 to 3 months without any additional monies coming in. And so the county is right at about a 58% reserve. So if you had 90 days, that would be a 25% reserve. So you are well over a year fund balance fund balance position in comparison to your total expenditures. That is excellent. That is excellent. I present to so many governments that are just struggling to have 30 days, 60 days, and their fund balance. So to be that high is an extraordinary achievement, and the county should be very proud of your stewardship over the years that has allowed that to happen. In addition to that, you also have the Emergency Disaster Fund that has $4.1 million in it. Again, that is an excellent position to be in from a stewardship standpoint, to be able to weather the roughest storms out there that may be coming at you. That is just fantastic news. With that being said, I will conclude my report and see if there's any questions that the court may have.
Just a clarification, Robert, you said that we have a year of reserve.
A little over half a year,
Half a year, okay. Thank you. Yeah, you said
58% of the
58%,
year.
good. Good deal. Robert, we've had the pleasure of being able to work together. It seems like almost as long as I was here. I have been here these last 16 years. Maybe not the first year, but do you recall, do we have as much as 14 or so years of working relationship?
That's approximately it.
Okay, very good. Darla was kind enough to meet with me last Monday and go over everything. And just from my level of responsibility, I was appreciative for the report that we were able to have. And so it was very comforting to see how the challenge of the budget cycle itself came to this particular report that you've just given us. So thank you very much for the services through the years, and specifically in a challenging year as well.
Thank you.
Comments, questions, gentlemen?
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Are you ready for the acceptance?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Mike.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. There's a motion and second to accept the annual audit report for 2021 as presented. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
And it was unanimous. Thank you all. I know it's a short visit with us, but you're certainly welcome to stay and see the rest of it. If you need to step out, I certainly understand. Thank you. Thank you. All right. That'll take us back to the top on the consider, approve, and informational portion of our agenda, which is Roman numeral 5. And Mike, you have the first two items, the budget amendment line item transfers. I'm not aware of any, I haven't seen any. Do you know of any? Okay. So it'll take us to item B, and we do have the accounts payable here.
Motion to approve.
Okay, there's a motion with a second to approve for the accounts payable as presented. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, it was unanimous. That'll take us to Commissioner Sturk. You have the next three items. Item C.
First one is a renewal of annual software maintenance for e-file for the county clerk's office with NetAdams/GHS, and I bring that forward in motion.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Blanchard. Second. Comments or questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item D.
Yes, make a motion to adopt the 2023 retirement rate of 7.20%.
Second. There is a motion. Commissioner Hudson has the second.
Yes, and that's the minimum, so we're not putting any extra, but we are, over 100% funded in that, so retirement funds, we're good there. That's at the minimum rate, which is 7.20.
Okay. With that being said, additional comments? All in favor, aye? And the motion carries unanimously as well. Item E.
Is to adopt the 1% cost of living allocation increase for retirees with a one-time contribution of $117,011 to TCDRS, which is Texas County District Retirement System.
There's a motion. Is there a second? That was a motion.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Donnie. Second.
Yeah, and that's 1% increase that goes to the retirees that are retired at this time, and it's a one-time payment of the 117 to cover that 1% for the current retirees. It doesn't affect any future retirees.
Okay.
And was this what was budgeted?
Yes, that was the amount that we put into the budget, and approved in the budget.
So it'll go in next year, in effect next year.
Well, yes,
Okay.
yeah, January 1, I think is when they get their increase. We just had to adopt the,
How long has it been, Steve? Was it like 09?
09 was the last time we've done the COVID increase.
I think it's long overdue.
All right. With that being said, additional comments? All in favor, aye? Okay, motion carried unanimously. Item F, Commissioner Marshall.
Award boring construction contract for the Tyler County SUD water line project under the Tyler County Harvey Infrastructure Grant. I put that in the form of a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Stirk. I've heard yours. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? And motion carries unanimously. I've got the next two items, and one is the request for the governing board of the Allen Sugar Library and Museum for the ARPA fund support. I think y'all were sent emails.
Boring construction.
We were sent emails regarding some deficiency. I've asked Kay is back here. She's the director for the library and museum to speak to that for the court, just to bring everybody up to speed and then for us to have it out.
Sure, Bill, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. As you know, the Allen Shivers Library and Museum serves as the county library for Tyler County. And I believe, and I hope you too, that the library is a really important part of infrastructure for a county. And I don't know how aware you are of the activity that goes on over there, but just to give you an example, today we will have the senior reading group, which has approximately 20 people every year. We have the Religious Study Club will be there this afternoon, which is another 20 people or so. We have the Tyler County Historical Commission that will be there today. We have people who come and go all day long, printing documents, faxing, emailing. We have folks that come in every day to use the computer because they don't have access in their personal life situation. And the reason that I've come to you asking for ARPA funds is that you all are aware that we have some wiring issues over there. It's quite dated, and we've, just to give you a little bit of the financial picture, when Mrs. Bunch was the director, she had a building and projects fund. And when she passed away, there was about $95,000 in there, which seems like a healthy amount of money. We were able to get an additional $100,000 grant from the TLL Temple Foundation for the specific purpose of putting an elevator or a lift so that the museum would be accessible to people with mobility issues. The cost of that is going to be almost $70,000. We do not know yet what cost we'll have on the site preparation to get ready to put that in, to make sure that, that the porch doesn't collapse when we put it. So that could be $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, we don't know. We did get permission from TLL Temple to use the balance of those grant funds to help offset the cost of the wiring. I know it's taken months, literally 6 or 8 or 10 months. I don't even know how long trying to get someone to give us a quote. Nobody wanted to touch that museum with, the ages in 1881 Victorian home. But we finally did get a quote. It was for $81,000. That will be for rewiring the museum building, the boardroom where Governor Shiver's rare books are, the children's room, the hallway, and the main library. So if you do the math, that pushes us over into the buildings and projects fund, and which it will be dropped down to $50,000 at the most. And if we have, $10,000 or $15,000 additional site credit, it's going to go down from there, which is our reserve. And that's why I'm here to ask for some support. Any amount would be appreciated. We just would like to be able to cover the cost of the wiring so we don't have to worry about the safety of that building. We have people in there all the time. If somebody has a little space heater and then turns the printer on, guess what? The circuit flips. So, we worry all the time about the status of the wiring of that building. It would be a shame for it to just disappear one night because the wiring is bad. So we are moving forward, and if it wipes us out, it wipes us out. But we're hoping that the court would see fit to support us financially somehow.
Okay.
Any questions about any of that?
Yes, I do. I think in previous court sessions when you spoke about it, isn't that a historic building?
It does not have a recognition from the State Historical Commission, which is a good thing.
Well, you're on camera. But, my hesitation, that's what I was thinking when I read this over the weekend, that, if it's tied up with any of that, it's going to have to be in writing before.
Yes, it is not, thankfully, but the history of that house. It was the Harlow Cruz house. It's set right up here facing this building, and Governor Shivers and his wife bought the building and had it moved to its current location. And the old home was actually going to be the library and the museum, and they pretty soon realized that it wasn't spacious enough for that, and so the main library building was built. Some of you may remember that what is now the children's room was an open courtyard. We've been stumbling across all kinds of really cool pictures that show it as it was back in the day when it opened in 1960s, or formally opened in 66. But like I say, it is an important part of this community, and we just request that you support it.
Okay. Kate, just a clarification for the amount of the request. Would you tell us for that again?
Well, I believe that when I sent you the
Email?
letter via email, I believe I asked for $150,000, but we'll take whatever. We just want to be able to keep that place up and running.
I think the wiring email showed the amount you said there.
Yes, the specific cost of the project that we're facing is $81,000.
And it may be that we want to not take an action on this until we can bring a specific amount. Mike and I both sit on the board, obviously, because of the representation of the county. But the request for Kate to come and elevate it to us, and then maybe a following agenda, we can move forward with a specific amount so that we can capture it in a formal motion.
And also, we need to get with Leslie Waxman, one of us, speaking to her about this, and just, because now we have a grant administrator finally.
Right.
If y'all would like to have some sort of workshop, I would love to host it over there so you can see really what's going on.
And keep up with the amount that you have in your building fund when you start this project and when you end it, so you'll know the beginning and the ending amount that you can relay to the court. That's maybe an amount to get you back to even anyway.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Don't sit down because we have another item. So if it's, please, court, we're not going to take any formal action. It's going to be more of an informational and a petition for a future request, but it didn't table it. Why don't we just leave it, Mike, because she presented the court information, and then we can do a formal action item in a future agenda. Okay, item H probably needs a little clarification. Mike and I sit representing the county on the governing board, but there's an advisory board, and I think maybe the advisory board is what the correct petition to the court was to identify a couple of members to serve on that because correct, because it has a specific designation of the office of county judge and then a commissioner. And I think once the first of the year comes around and reorganize, the benefit obviously for Mike as the commissioner, because he's the chief or the pro tem of the court. So that gives that liaison voice to the governing board. But actually, this is going to be for the advisory, as I say. With that being said, you're appealing to the court to identify two that can be appointed to represent the county on the advisory board.
We need one designee for the county, and then we're seeking nominations for at large because y'all may recall in the interlocal agreement that we are committed to having an advisory board, and it will be a 7-member body that advises myself and just recommends various things, and it will be composed of a representative of the Friends of the Library, which we're now able to get reactivated, the city, the county, and the school district, and there will be 3 at-large positions representing just the county as a whole. And so we just need to confirm a county representative, not for the governing board, but for the advisory board. And in order to allow you to have representation in the at-large positions, I need some names so that the governing board can look at a slate of potential people for the advisory board, and we can put 3 at-large members on the advisory board. So that's what that one's about.
And it may be healthy for each of us to make a recommendation from someone out of each of the precincts, just so that they can have that as a body to be able to work from recommendations. So if y'all will be thinking about that, again, I don't think you were taking any formal action on
Should
this.
we motion to table this?
Um,
To designate?
Yeah, if we do it like we did the previous one and just use this as an informational type of presentation to the court, and then, so it's to the conscience of all of us publicly, we can come back at a later time and make a designation. Kay, do you have a deadline or a time frame that would be helpful for those names to be submitted?
As soon as we can, I'd love to be able to start 2023 with the advisory board.
Okay, so the next couple of months would be, as soon as possible, but the next couple of months. All right, thank you, Kay.
I'm bad.
Go ahead, Trish.
Do you have any, what would I say, qualifications for these people that we would recommend? I mean, are you leaving that up to us, or?
Just that they would be passionate about the library and,
Okay.
care about what's going on over there and how it might serve the county better. I mean, we may have folks who are valuable because they see things a little different than everybody else, and that's, just people who would help us get good, solid recommendations for programming and finances. It's not an administrative body, it's just an advisory.
Just advisory, okay.
Yes.
Good.
Anything else?
Good questions.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kay. All right, that'll take us to item I, and that's Commissioner Marshall.
Yes, sir. I'll make a motion to approve the 2023 routine airport maintenance grant. It's a 50/50 grant. When we spend money, it's a reimbursement grant. We'll be reimbursed 50% of what we spend on maintenance costs at the airport.
Okay, there is informal motion with second by Commissioner Sturk. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. And is there any opposed? That would be unanimous then. Item J is Commissioner Hudson.
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Mr. Morgan Eason to the ESD number 2 board. That's the fire department there in Sperger, and he's going to replace Mr. Cosum Mott that recently passed away.
All right.
Second.
There's a motion with second. Commissioner Sturk had the second. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Any opposed? And there were none. Item K and L, Commissioner Blanchard.
I move that we pay temporary relocation expense in the amount of $5,000 to each of the owners in the buyout program. This is a reimbursable expense from the disaster recovery grant. And I believe that needs to be paid out of contingency miscellaneous, correct?
Yes, it's contingency.
I'll second.
Okay, there is a motion with second. Comments or questions? Ken, you're familiar with the relocation. Are you familiar with this portion of it? Okay, thank you. I just.
And there was information attached to this, and
Okay.
talked to Jackie, and it's part of the grant, we will be reimbursed for it, so.
Excellent. All right. Any other comments or questions? All in favor, aye? And it was unanimous. Item L, Commissioner?
All right. I move that we, I don't like the way this is worded. Okay, employee appreciation and safety luncheon to be paid out of contingency from miscellaneous. I move that we do that.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
There is a motion with second. Comments, questions?
Do we have a date on that?
I think it's
Usually
November
in
7th.
November.
November 17th.
Yeah, I think that is.
All right. Any additional comments or questions? All in favor, aye? Okay, it sounded unanimous. Item M is a ratification of the order to prohibit outdoor burning. I've asked Ken to be present with us. We talk just continuously, men. You know, we've had drought conditions, we went under burn ban, we lifted it, and then conditions got such to where we're bringing it back under. We did that last week after some fires had occurred up in the Chester area, and they were starting to ramp up some concerns of us. So we went ahead and put it up. It does need a ratification, and I would pose for that to be the action at this particular time. And I'll put it for. Thank you, Mike.
Motion to ratify the burn ban.
Thank you, Mike. And there's a motion with second. Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Okay, it sounded unanimous. Thank you. Ken, thank you too. I just asked him to be here to field any questions if y'all have anything. Good. All right. Let's see, item N through V, the next 9 items, Commissioner Hudson. Commissioner?
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the changes to the retirement life insurance policy.
Second.
There's a motion with second. Comments or questions?
Yeah, I'd like to know what kind of changes we're talking about.
So, glad you asked. Currently, the policy doesn't stipulate anything other than we will provide. That recently has become an issue. And so when we had our workshop the other day, I brought it up to discuss, and the suggested changes read, effective 1/1/2023, all regular full-time employees and officials, both appointed and elected of the county, shall be eligible for coverage under the current county life insurance provider by meeting the retiree requirements. The benefit is not extended to the dependents of the retiree and is subject to review each budget cycle and will be determined by the Commissioners Court the amount of the benefit as well as the amount the county will contribute to the benefit premiums. The benefit is subject to change to budgetary constraints. 1, the retiree must have at least 8 years of unbroken full-time service to the county and be fully vested in the county retirement plan. 2, the retiree must officially retire from the county and cannot be terminated or quit. The retiree number 3 does not lose the benefit should he or she return to work for the county in a different capacity, or should they be employed by a different entity.
Thank you. All right. So any additional comments or questions? This may address something that occurred during this past year that hopefully this particular action
That's the
will
intention.
rectify so that it doesn't, we don't have a,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Commissioner, please continue.
Okay, the contract between the Tyler County and Dedicated Medical with the purpose of using Dedicated Medical as a backup to our current provider. This will in no way replace the current provider. I'll put that in the form of a motion.
Okay, there is a motion. Is there a second? Is there a second? I'll second it, so we can bring it up for discussion. Leanne, would you give us a little bit of background on this, so we'll understand?
So the purpose of bringing it to court is that we sometimes run into an occasion where we need immediate response or immediate results from our drug tests, or immediate physicals. And sometimes that's not possible. Sometimes the reason for that would be that sometimes some of our officials go ahead and hire people, and we need to have those results immediately because that's our policy. Or sometimes we can't wait because the employee or the prospective employee has been out of work and trying to get them hired. I'm not asking to replace our current policy with the hospital. I'm not asking to by any means discontinue that contract or that connection. What I'm asking for is just a backup plan for just a few occasions when that is required, and that's it.
And I think, again, just from commentary, there was a time or two this year that there was an urgency of employment that needed to be exercised, and then just the, not disparaging anything, Sandra, on, any of these, just that this is a backup option in the event that that should occur. And Commissioner, I appreciate you articulating the fact that this will in no way replace our current provider. So this gives backup.
I had talked to Sandra some about that, and I think there was some confusion on what was expected of the hospital because they were having to send off these drug tests. They could do them in-house cheaper and faster. I mean, they can have it a next day deal, if I'm not mistaken. Isn't that what you told me, Sandra?
Yes, well, what it is, which I had talked to several options over with Leanne when I found out about the issue is, there are different issues and we're working on, I don't know what you're working on with your personnel policy because we were hopefully going to continue that conversation. Where we are right now, we are treating the pre-employment drug test like they are DOT drug tests, and they're being sent out to a company. For years, it's been sent out to DISA. Quest is available, or if they're just pre-employment screenings, if the county's policy allow for it, in which we discussed it, and she's being held by policy. But this gives an opportunity for it to be open and in front of the Commissioner's Court. We can do chain of custody at the hospital and get the results same day or the next morning. Now, that also would include, if your policy includes alcohol, which it might. We don't see a lot of that anymore. We see just urine drug screens. Alcohol's a little bit harder to defend. We can do that at the hospital, the same test that we're sending out for, with chain of custody inside the hospital. And you get it the same day or the next morning, depending on what time you get there at during the day. We can do those tests for $36. So, but that's not what the current policy is. The current policy is we're sending them off like a DOT, urine drug screen.
Yeah, we had talked about this. There's only been 2 instances that you've,
Yes, I went back and pulled all the data. When I saw it on the agenda, I pulled all the data. And there's 2 times that we did, now I can't control positive drug tests or the policies of the companies that we send it to. They are working off of the DEA regulation and their interpretation of it that says they must notify the patient before they notify the employer, potential employer. The hospital doesn't fall under that same regulation. We did have 2, and Leanne and I talked about one of them. It was a problem on 3-5, and that's the one we had talked about. And she had already gotten the results by the time that I got it. But there was another 8-day one on 6/14. And anything over 8 days clued us off that there was something wrong. We didn't charge the county for that second one. The one that Leanne and I talked about, we did charge the county. So that's where I am. On the physicals, Amber Davis can do the physicals on Saturday of each week, or we can schedule them during the week sometimes. DOT physicals are different. I can't make those guarantees for DOT physicals. That falls under a whole different category. But, that's where I am. There were 2 occurrences to where, Leanne was waiting on results.
So to address some things, Sandra and I did talk, and I feel like we had come to some conclusions, but part of the thing was too, during that time, it's hard to get, if I'm not mistaken, that testing, and you and I spoke about was a blood test.
No, it was a urine.
Because you had told me that we had the blood test, and I had contacted our attorney.
Your blood alcohol is your blood test.
And
If we do it.
right,
Otherwise, it's all urine.
so we would essentially have a blood test because we do need the alcohol. So we would need to have a blood test to get the results back that day, and then we would have the urine analysis.
A blood test only if you do it inside the hospital. If you
Right.
send it off to a
Right.
different company, it's all urine.
Right, and so we were talking about expediting the results, and so, the issue was the blood test part of it, and that's where I had a hang on, because it's invasive. And when I spoke to Iglesias, the state of Texas doesn't require for a regular job, non-DOT, to actually have a drug test. And so I can't really make anybody take a blood test. And so, it can be a condition of employment, and then you could possibly lose a good employee because of that blood, test. So the issue is not, again, I don't have a problem with using the hospital, I want to continue to use the hospital, that's not the issue. The issue is that sometimes scheduling is a problem. Sometimes we've had a couple of issues of, getting in to get the physical. It could take, depending on the season, we could be in flu season, we could be in COVID season, we could be in all the things. Getting in to get the physical. And then when you get the physical, you don't get the physical back like we used to until we get the drug test back, the results of it, and then the PA will sign off on that. So again, it's just a backup. It's not a replacement. It's just backup. The other day, I couldn't get anybody into the hospital because we had a lights were out or something wasn't working or something inside the lab. They weren't taking any kind of I guess customer is the wrong word. Patient, yeah, for a drug test. So we had to wait. I'm just, again, not trying to, I love the hospital, I'm an advocate for the hospital, I think it's great. I just think it's wise to have a backup plan.
Okay, additional comments or questions? All in favor? I'm sorry.
Well, I think we have more of a policy problem than we do a problem with the hospital. I think we need to get our policy where it's, we're to work with the hospital instead of worry about a backup.
On the chain of custody stuff, on the pre-employment stuff, to get it back faster, we changed our policy or adopted a policy to allow the chain of custody to go from the hospital lab directly to
The county.
the end, or instead of going through the company, then we're all right, pre-employment. Now, DOT has to go through the other way.
And as far as DOT physicals, we're exempt from DOT physicals. Our commercial, our CDL drivers are, because we're interstate, we don't have to go out of state and be in the county.
So they can only work for the county, a government.
Right, they can't drive somebody else's
They
truck
can't, yeah, they
without
can't work on
having,
weekends, right along.
without having the full time.
Additional comments or questions?
So do we need to table it and work on the policy or what?
That's
I mean,
what I
that's,
think we need to do.
Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion to table it.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there a second to the motion? We need a mo- Okay, all in favor, aye? Okay, item O will be tabled for further action. Commissioner, item P,
approve the Tyler County cell phone policy. I'd like to put that in the form of a motion.
okay, is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Comments, or let's see, comments, questions, review? I did have a question. First page, kind of in the middle section. I don't know if this is just a typo or if it's a different word I'm not familiar with. It says employees will ensure that the mobile telephone, and then it looks like SIEVE, it should be service maybe?
Certain that it's-
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And so I just wanted to be sure that I understood that. All right. So we have a motion and second.
Do we have change, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Do we have changes that we're doing to our cell
Well-
phone policy?
What we didn't have is an actual cell phone policy. We had an allowance, we had where we weren't supposed to be on cell phones, but we actually do not have a cell phone policy. And as we are now having more accessibility to the employee, it has become a topic of discussion as far as what the cell phone actually entails, the county relationship to the employee, and from the employee versus, or back to the county. And so this policy is to lay that out. And it has been vetted by Mr. Iglesias.
So these 2 pages are all new?
Some of it is taken from the allowance part of it, where we had that before. And
And also the use, I believe.
the majority of it is new.
It was pretty extensive. As I was studying through it, I found a place that I could amend it by saying that, your information can and will be used against you if it's requested.
It is just for clarification. This policy is for clarification because of the, again, because we've never been faced with such accessibility, or we've never had anybody come back and say, I dropped my phone while I was at work on a dozer, and the dozer ran over it, and now the county was moving your phone. It just lays out what the county will and you can do.
Okay, and this, it's hard to read with that draft thing on there, but,
Sorry.
the law enforcement, they have their own policy.
Yes, and it says
Okay.
that, they'll need to refer to their internal policy, because I won't even touch that, that's not my.
Yeah, that's what one of my concerns was.
That's what the lady explained in the workshop the other day.
Yes.
They have their own.
So TAC has reviewed it, and so has Mr. Lewis.
Additional comments or questions? You want to table it and study it a little bit more before we take any action?
I've already read it.
Ready for the vote? All in favor, aye? Any opposed? Any abstaining? Did you vote?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was unanimous. Thank you. That's okay. Let's continue with,
Approve the changes to the current Tyler County compensatory time policy, and I'll put that in the form of a motion.
okay,
Second.
there is a motion with a second. Do we want to have some discussion about that? Leanne, you want to speak to us about it?
Yeah.
We just, the majority of the policy is exactly the way it is written in the policy book as it stands. One of the things though that we, and I think Steve and I have had many conversations over this, is that we have, but one of the things is we have a maximum amount allowed by FSLA. And this is multifaceted here because we have a maximum amount of FSLA and we cannot keep accruing over that 240 limit. The 240 limit was not listed in the policy, so therefore, no one was really aware of what the limit was, and we kept accruing the comp time. Along with that, the third part, I'm sorry, down there, it says, we'll pay comp time based on the guidelines and requirements by the FSLA. It is my recommendation, it is my request, it is my plea, that we adopt one policy and we stick to that, that's what we're going to do. Right now, we have, what appears to be a different policy per office. And the problem with that in per TAC the other day is that what we do for one, we essentially need to do for everybody. And even though we're standalone offices, we are under the umbrella of the county. And so if Donnie does something in her office that somebody in my office likes, and I don't do that, then she can come back and say, well, Donnie says it, and I'm gonna need that too. So there's that. And then, just highlights that comp time may be used for any purpose desired by the employee with supervisor approval, including but not limited to vacation, sick leave, or personal days. And Tyler County shall have the right to require employees to use earned comp time at the convenience of the county, including before using their regularly accrued time. I think what we need to pay attention to is that during the audit, one of the things that I was asked to report back to Darla was the amount of mobility that we had out there for our comp time and for our vacation time, those kinds of things. And of course, we have to have that available to be able to pay that. And we do have some offices that have some extensive comp time. We've talked about it, I've gone to the offices, we've kind of figured out what to do, but we need to make sure that doesn't happen again. And if we require the employees, again, I'm not sure what to do, but if we make it a practice to use your comp time versus your accrued time, and there will be some exceptions to that, then I don't think we will be in the line of having that kind of liability out there. And one of the things that we need to focus on for this particular year is that if everybody got a $3,000 raise and we decide to pay out this comp time in January, they're gonna have to pay it out at the new rate, not the time that it's, not the rate that it's actually earned. So those are some considerations that were put into amending this policy.
I think Mike and I learned some years ago, maybe prior to the others of you coming onto the board, is that what is your policy and what is your practice? Because it'll always defer back to what your practice is as the trumping directive regarding what we do. And so that was kind of a sobering moment. Like, I don't know if you remember that or not, but it's like, whoa, you know, we might have a policy that says something, but then if we've been doing something else, then that's what we're going to be bound to, is what we've been doing. All right, additional comments or questions?
Well, on the setting of the maximum compulsory time, if we put a number there and FSLA changes that number, then we're not in compliance.
But I said it as of.
Right, yes, but if we just follow the FSLA guidelines, then we don't have to go back every time they change.
I agree. However, part of the excuse or the problem, and I'm not saying excuse in the derogatory form, I'm just saying part of the reason that these offices have been going over 200 employees is because nobody knew what the law was.
Well, that should be called on the HR department, and we have software that can limit that or flag that. When it gets to 240, it won't allow you to put any more on there. Because I know the software won't allow you to take off time that you don't have. And we should be able to, because that's federal law, is not allowed to be put on there above 240. It automatically pays the overtime. Once you hit that 240, it should start automatically paying overtime. And I don't think we don't need a policy saying we should follow the law. We don't.
Well, I think it does say we're gonna follow the law.
Yeah, we don't need a policy saying we're going to follow the law. We don't have to have that policy.
Okay, but I still think the employees need to know.
And all we're doing is setting a maximum. You know, each department can have a 0 maximum or 100 maximum, but the county maximum is 240 because that's the federal law, federal safety law. And as far as burning comp time before any accrued time, vacation time, the county, the liability is the same. If you pay it out, if they earned that vacation time last year and get a $3,000 raise and they carry over their vacation time and they quit, we're going to be paying it out at the new rate, not at the old rate.
The rate's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the extra hour or the half hour, the time and a half part of it. So we've accumulated time and a half.
If you work an hour and put in your hour compensatory time, it comes up as an hour and a half. So it's figured into the system at the time
I
and a half.
understand that, but in my mind, and I guess it's simple as it might be, it seems to me that if you are accruing your comp time at time and a half, and your vacation is straight time, seems to me like if you take your vacation first, you got extra over here on your comp time. I think that's the whole point.
Yeah, but your comp time is stored at time and a half. So if you work 1 hour this year on comp time, it's gonna show up as 1.5 hour comp time.
Versus 1 hour vacation time, vacation time, vacation time,
Right, but you're gonna pay it out at an hour and a half.
not
You don't-
vacation time.
But the comp time, it's already there at an hour and a half because it's either an overtime or taking time off or paid out.
I think what I'm saying again, simple as it might be in my head, if I can pay out the 1 hour that I worked for vacation, or I can pay out the hour and a half, or the time and a half that I earned for comp time, I'm gonna spend more money on the time and a half because there's accumulated more time.
Because there's more time there. So if they took an hour off of vacation, it'd be just 1 hour. An hour and a half off the comp time is an hour and a half.
You know what,
Because there's more time there to take off.
whatever you want to do, I just think that, I think that in speaking to TAC and speaking to, other counties, and in fact, it is in our policy now to buy back, or to.
We have the option to buy back.
The option to make the employee use the comp time first.
That's correct. That's up to the department to do that.
It is, but again,
The department can make that employee take that comp time at any time that the head of the department feels it's necessary to take that time off. They can't make
but
it.
you were
take
also the one that said we need to limit the amount of comp time per county policy so that we could control that liability.
That's correct, because that liability, that department has to have that money inside their salary to cover that liability of the comp time. The federal law says you can't have more than 240.
But you're the one that said that it's the same as vacation, but it's not. And if we're going to, and it's your idea to limit the amount to 50 or even 100, what would be the point of doing that countywide in our policy if what I'm saying?
Let's just call for the vote.
Okay,
I
all
don't
in
have a
favor, aye?
problem with it.
All in favor, aye?
In there, just call for the vote.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so 2 opposed, let's see. Joe, did you vote for it?
Mhm.
Okay, I get to break the tie. If it comes as a recommendation, as a policy, I'm gonna vote in favor of the recommendation based upon vetting it out. I certainly hear all the points. So motion carries by, tiebreaker, I guess. All right, that's gonna take us to item R.
Right, item R is the Years of Service Awards recognition for Tricia Ford, Mary Walters, and Melissa Carson.
Second.
Coming right here. The motion with a second for the recognition. All in favor, aye? Okay. And I think we've signed off on those as well. Yeah. So
No, it's different.
almost all your life, Tricia, you've been with the county, right?
Are you telling my age?
Isn't it 32 years?
32 years.
Yeah. See, almost all your life.
I would say 33, yes.
Started when he was a baby.
Yes, thank
And then we also have.
Melissa
Mary
Carson.
and Melissa.
Melissa is at a luncheon this morning, and Miss Mary had to take her daughter to the,
Andy Anderson and Houston.
All right. That'll take us to item S. And Commissioner?
All right. It's a thank you letter from Caring and Sharing for donation through VSO. And I think this is just a letter. I'm not quick form the motion.
Okay. There is a
Can read
motion
it.
with a second. Please do.
Well, I don't have it. She does.
it's just an information, Karen Sherry sent a letter, I think actually,
Yeah, this is a $50
well,
donation.
it's on behalf of Karen Sherry, we'd like to thank you for the donation of $200. The support of individuals and businesses like yours make it possible for Karen Sherry to exist and serve people in need in our community. Thank you.
Good. All right.
VSO, is that Veteran Service Officer?
VSO, Veteran Service.
All right. That'll take us to item T. Holiday schedule.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the 2023 Tyler County holiday schedule.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mike. Comments or questions?
I do have a thing to point out and for your consideration is, the Christmas holiday for 2023, the day after Christmas, of course, Christmas is on a Monday, and the day after Christmas is payroll. And so I would like to take that holiday and put it back in the week before. So that's why it says December 21st, 22nd, and 25th. If y'all would mind considering.
Put the payroll the week before.
No, sir, the
No,
holiday.
The holiday's Monday, move it back to the week before so that people can be here on Monday to get payroll out.
Christmas is Monday.
Yeah,
The day
Yeah,
after.
Tuesday.
Tuesday, yes, sir.
Okay, that's the modification.
Okay, Christmas is on Monday.
Yeah, 25th.
Okay, and on this calendar, it says that the day after Christmas is a holiday, but it's also payroll. So she's wanting to take that Tuesday holiday and move it back to what day?
To the 21st.
The 21st. Thursday. So that people will be here to do it.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Yeah.
All right. Any additional comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, aye? Okay. That's the approval of the schedule with the modification. That'll take us to item U.
Motion to approve the 2023 payroll schedule.
Second.
Thank you, Mike, for the second. Comments or questions? Anything for the court on the payroll schedule?
Since you did the holiday one.
Okay. All in favor, aye? Any opposed or abstaining? Motion carries unanimously. Item V.
Item V is a motion to removal of the VotoCall phones from the treasurer's office.
So is that a motion?
Yes. I said motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mike. Discussion purposes?
I included the reason why in there, and I would just like a simple, plain, clean one.
So is this?
I
It
think
has-
it was more of a
it has-
paging issue, from what I understand, because we can go back and look at it. I don't think it's necessarily somebody listening to call.
I contacted the company and of course I looked into my account. And it does have, besides the paging, it does have an option to drop into the call. And what has happened in my office has not been a page, and I can tell the difference. And then also, it does have the option to record your call, drop in your call, listen to your call. And I just don't think that's several functions that I don't want to happen in my office.
I've had some similar experiences.
So let me ask y'all this, is everybody on VotoCall?
The tax office.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. I think if people aren't real familiar, because I investigated this too, if they're not real familiar with that phone setup, they can accidentally just hit that page and it'll go to somebody else's phone. And you would think they're listening to you, but they really can't hear you. But then,
But you can hear them.
But you can hear them.
Yes, they
Okay.
can hear anything you're saying.
but they can't hear you.
And it goes to everybody.
But there is the option on there to, what did you say? You just said it.
To record,
Yeah.
Do drop in.
to do drop in.
Yeah, you can do drop-ins.
You can listen to phone calls.
Mhm.
And so
So it may be that we need to work with the people that provide the
Yeah, they
system
turn that off.
and get them to turn it off or something. I don't know. I
I'd
just,
rather do that.
rather than a whole new phone line, I don't know. But it's something,
I use protocol for my business.
Well,
So, but I have been sitting in my office and hear somebody talking on the phone and it's not in my office.
Right.
It's not in my girl's office, it's not here. And it's like, oh, what about this thing? And they go, that's
maybe it could be that, you know,
I don't know if the tax office actually uses that.
maybe it could be that we could talk with the people and have that part removed completely from the phone system. You know, some of the things, because we don't really need all that. All we need is the option to make a phone call. And I mean, I have to
It's
agree.
like I said, I use it on my,
Right.
I use it to leave a message to come or not come. And I do not like having people leaving messages for me. on that phone.
Mhm.
I would prefer them come in if they need something. So as long as we can keep that jury message, I'm happy with anything. So that's just my.
I'm not asking to undo the phone system or get everybody in the phone system. I just want one on.
Well, I don't
Yeah.
know if we still have AT&T under contract. I thought we did away with that.
But we do
I'd
live
rather
in the
just
age
resolve
of
the problem.
technology, and surely there's something they can do to fix the problem, I would think.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, you know.
Okay, there's a call for the vote. All in favor, aye. All opposed, nay? It was unanimously against it. Okay, let's see, that's gonna take us through our agenda, gentlemen. Is there comments by court members pertaining to matters of county government? And hearing none, I'm not aware of anything for executive session. Anybody? Leanne, you got anything to follow up?
Maybe next week.
All right, I'm sorry?
Maybe next week.
Maybe, okay. Got anything, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Bud, for the second. All in favor, aye? Okay, we have another meeting, gentlemen, at 10:45, which is 30 minutes ago for the workshop. So if y'all will stay.
No, you got
Can we take just a few minutes before we start the other one?
Sure.
11:15.
11:15.
Take it.
Let's take a vote. I love you, Joe.
What'd you say?
I said, I love you, Joe.
You love me.
Take a vote.
Next question.
I was on my feet for like 12 hours a day with us football.
Well, it does get redundant. Okay, so we're gonna take a little short break.
Come on, Gary.
Donnie, do you have things you want us to sign?
Actually, Holly's here. She's a guest of honor. She is?
Yeah, there she is.
Okay. That made me nervous for a second. Well, that's a pretty.
See you.
Hey, will you give him one? And a pencil? Well, as much as you can. She's supposed to give you one.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I'll give you.
Okay, DB. Need your signature. Thank you, Dale.
Okay, judges. I got some non-commissioners. This is
our notice of election. Just gonna hand it out to Becky.
Thank you. We apologize, y'all, it was a long court.
We'll let it go this time. Yeah, we'll let it slide this time.
Thank you.
Like your.
Last year, they last year,
Huh?
they got left their things are messed up.
Oh, okay.
Last year,
I got them.
this is the annual report on something.
You already signed. Okay. Thank you. What's that one up there? We'll sign the proclamation. Where's it?
That's it, that's what we just said.
Okay.
Okay, that's what we said.
Oh, good. That's it?
Kelly's got some more to do. Medical services agreement.
Miss Holly, you can come on up here.
Medical
You're the guest of honor.
services. Did you fill this
Yeah.
out? Medical services.
Yes, it was tabled.
Thank you, sir. Ma'am?
Got a good attendance.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wholesome malt nutrition services. Morgan East.
This one.
Okay.
You come from out there and you hear some messages.
But,
I'm not the only one that smells that either.
Yeah.
Sure smells musky.
Look, sign that proclamation. You might still got to sign
Okay, now Mike and Donnie. Well, they got some good looking grub down there.
That's the light lunch, you say?
This
Is there any meat down there?
Big old Subway sandwich. Oh, wow. Won't get me one. I just need the cookie for now. Look, Mike, I want that.
Hey, what term, Morgan Easton, just whatever, filling out, whatever Cozy's term?
Yes. And they said they need copies of driver's license. That's what Mary said.
Why is he on insurance or something? We wouldn't need copies of his driver's license unless he was gonna be an employee.
I don't know. We'll find out.
But we got, Kelly's got his oath here.
They can get an oath from all of them.
Ready? All right. Okay. We are back in session, acknowledging our workshop agenda that was scheduled for 10:45, and official start time on this workshop will be 11:22. This is a publicly held meeting, and it does provide for public comments, and we've had 4 who have signed up to speak. So we want to go ahead and recognize those. You have a total of 5 minutes to speak on any particular topic of an interest to you. And with that being said, Donnice will start her timer, and I'll call for you based upon your request, and you'll have your time in court. How about that? Hey, Miss Catherine Deason. She's known me back when I had a full head of hair, man. Long time ago, Miss Dee. 60 years, can you believe that? Okay, with that being said, Debbie, you've signed up, and I got you first, so glad to hear from you.
I go to the nutrition center for crafts and games and bingo and stuff and everything. So back during the pandemic, they were having where you could go and pick up the bills and then they quit it. And So they still haven't started it back up because she had our meals there. There's a lot of people that count on those meals. I had a man, I was at the nutrition center a week ago or so, a man came in from Hillster, right? Down there, okay. He's a widower, lives by himself, doesn't cook. He had counted on those meals. And when they quit doing the handouts, because he could do those in the microwave, I happen to have some left over at my house. So he came home and I gave it to him. But he said he counts on those meals because he doesn't know how to cook or anything. And he was counting on those daily things and then the takeouts. And he kind of misses those. So we kind of need to have that reinstated again for people.
Yes, ma'am. Good point, thank you. Okay, let's start over for our timer. And Paul, you're next. Paul Freeman. I didn't know you were Paul.
Sorry?
I didn't know you were Paul.
No, I'm Paul, not Paul. I'm just a little concerned of what this government group is wanting to do with the center. I'm aware that with the COVID situation, what happened with us being their debit, has a big effect. It doesn't affect me personally, eating there every day. I can afford to eat somewhere else or at home. My concern is that I'm getting the feeling that it's going to be removed to where we do not have access to our, whether it's bingo or 42 or anything like that, And I would like to see that the areas that we use could be open to us Monday through Friday, from 8 to 2 or 3 o'clock, at the very minimum. And that's mainly my only concern. I used to play 42 every day. We only do it once a week, which is okay too. But I still don't want to see the facility that was set up for the seniors to be removed, because I'm afraid that would be a bad public relations for all of y'all. Not necessarily for you, Jock, since you're not going to be. Well, I'm talking about the others, and the future judge, whoever it may be.
And I'm a senior now too, so.
Oh, yes.
It would fit.
Yes, well, there's another senior, it looks like, and a few of the others probably not too far behind. Okay, well, so that's what I'm saying, it's open to everybody. 55 plus, and it should stay that way. And I hope, I would hope that there's some kind of resolution can be done to where the kitchen can be reopened. Because there are a lot of people that uses that center. And I'm sure all of y'all know that most of the time it's jam-packed, okay? And that's basically all I have to say.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you.
Miss Eva, next door neighbor, or 2 doors down, you're next. Would you like to say something, Eva?
The only thing that I would like to say is that this nutrition center is the only available place, time, and effort for the seniors in this county. And they seem to be able to have them in the other counties. And we feel like that we've been kind of pushed aside because nobody wants to feed us, number one, and we have to wait till somebody has the key to let us in to play dominoes. So I'm just for it staying open and accommodating these seniors in this county, because this is all we have, and this is all we want. We're not imposing on anybody. We're trying to keep it clean and neat, and people don't come because they can't eat anymore. And it was a good place to get people on a small income. Other than that, that's it. We just need it for us, not you all, for us.
Thank you. Thank you, Eva. Okay, Gary Dean is next. Mr. Gary?
He's on the
Well, I thought I was signing up for a free meal. I didn't know. But seriously though, what the other people have talked about, I agree with 100%. And my main thing, I guess, about it is whenever it was up and running good, there was all kind of people, and I consider them to be part of my family. Well, it's kind of like a little miniature family reunion. I'm not from here originally, and so every time I see somebody, I say, well, how's so-and-so doing? How they do it, and that type of thing. And I think the food was good, and I enjoyed that. But my main, really for my own self, is I guess they helped me recharge my batteries. In other words, just keep up with everybody, and then you hear somebody passed away, and it's just like an extended family, and we don't have that anymore. And I really think that, as I said, from my own point of view, that's what I miss the most. It really is. It's just that. So that's about all I got to say, except I thought I was going to win a free meal or something.
Right down the hallway.
Oh, but I got thank y'all. God
Thank
bless.
you, Gary. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay. Yes,
We
ma'am.
had parties there for around the holidays, and we had birthday gatherings, and we brought food, special food. We had bingo, and everybody got to see all the wares, and a lot of things came in. It was just a gathering place for people that have nowhere to go, and they want to be with their own age group, as well as an inexpensive lunch. We've had some really good cooks down here, and I don't know, seems like it's just every week you're gonna go to the nutrition center for an outing with your friends.
Very good. Thank you.
Can I
Okay.
finish up
Commissioner?
with my 5 minutes? I gotta do this.
You want to redeem a few of those?
Yeah, I'm redeeming a few of those. Is the nutrition center a nutrition, is just for seniors, or is it a community center? Because that's the only place, like, I got the extension to do our event in November.
It's being
But is
used,
it open to the public, or is it only just for seniors to do things there?
it's being used as a community center.
The county holds their elections in there and people that are affiliated with the county. But the portion of the kitchen, and just to clarify, nobody wants to shut down the nutrition center at all. And that's why we're here today, to try to figure out what we need to do as far as getting it going, because we didn't have the ability to say, hey, you've got to open this kitchen and serve these meals, because it was a contractor, correct, Ms. Anderson? They were the ones that made the decision on that, not the county. So what we're trying to do today is figure out how we're going to get this going, whether it is the county taking it over or a contractor. And that's why Ms. Anderson's here to guide us through that. And she's from DETCOG. And they've been handling, we got the Meals on Wheels. We got that contractor, and nobody wanted the kitchen, from what I understand. Is that correct? Yes. So we have decisions to make, whether it's going to be the county that takes over the kitchen or go after another contractor. So that's why we're here today. Nobody wants to close it down. I think we need it. And I know every one of these men up here.
Tyler County needs to take care of its own.
Yes, ma'am. And we intend on that. So I just want to make sure y'all know that. We just want, we got to get a direction on how we're going to do this. And I personally would like the county to take it over, because then we can, designate when it's open, but we can't take any action today, but we can discuss ideas and listen to Ms. Anderson. So that's it.
Okay.
That's all. Anybody else?
So are we ready for Holly to do a
Yes.
presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Holly, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So, like I
see all of you today and your interest in the senior center and keeping it open. I'm with the Council of Governments, out of Bluffton. I head the area agency on aging, and what we do is we take federal and state funds and fund nutrition sites throughout the 12 counties. 11 now. But when we were notified that the East Texas Support Services would no longer continue to contract past September 30th, we started trying to work with in 2 counties. They were Newton County and Tyler County. We started working with the counties and different ones and seeing who might be interested in being a contractor and being responsible for the services of this county, which we would fund in part. So that y'all could have a site. The senior site can be open for meals, it can be open without meals. It's what you as a community want to do. What we're appealing to the county is that the county would take over the administration of it, because we have to have a responsible person to contract the state and federal funds with, so that the services can be provided. It can be a variety of services. It can have meals. It can have meals 5 days a week, meals 1 day a week, no meals, just open to the public for y'all to come in, bring your own box lunches or sack lunches, or if you want to, or share something, bring a potluck. It's what you want.
We do bring our own,
And that's great.
but it's only for 1 day, and that's good that we have the 1 day, but we arbitrarily decide to do that ourselves. We have 1 table of 42 and bingo, and it's just for the 1 day. So people ask us all the time, when is the center gonna open so we can come down and play 42? Now, they may not be members, but they like to come and play dominoes. And if they stay for a meal, they have to fill out the required page. But we're not asking for something every day. You know, we just need something 2 or 3 times a week or twice a week. But we can take care of our own lunch, you know.
But, and that's it, it's where we are, is that we have funding to help get this off and running. What our Council of Governments needs is a party in the community to be responsible for keeping up with the funds, paying the bills, turning in the paperwork to us, things of this nature. So that's why we're appealing to possibly Tyler County consider this, when we work on the budget, and help fund those services for these seniors, so they can have it open, and based on what I'm hearing is that they might not necessarily want meals every day, or might not want the senior center open every day, but it's whatever y'all would want to do.
Wednesdays and Fridays are busy days.
And we do have some rules, some things that go along with your meals. They have to follow a dietitian meals. If we fund the senior center as a senior center through the operation of the senior center, you can have mostly what you want. If they open the kitchen, you can provide a meal without it meeting those guidelines.
Under the senior center?
Mhm. And all that would fall into under that one category of senior center operations, and it'd be a lot easier, because all you have to do is keep a list of people that are attending and send in a count, a daily count. We don't have to have names, we just have every count. And so,
Is there a maximum on those numbers? Because I remember that when they talked to us, that there was a maximum of like 40 a day congregant.
I think they were serving 40 a day. Right now, it just depends on how many people want to participate and how much money is available from the government. And then if y'all make, I'm sure that you make some sort of you can make a voluntary donation, and so that goes to help support the site. So it's kind of a community work back and forth.
We're not asking for a handout.
Right.
And I feel sure that most people could pay a little extra that can't financially buy their own groceries, maybe, that they make it come up with $2.25 or $2.50. But they can't go to the grocery store and buy that. And the meals are plentiful. There's nothing slim about the food down there. So it's not like we're saying, give us something free.
Yeah.
Because everybody pays. And if they can't pay, somebody pays for it.
And that's the way that it was designed. These funds that we pass through are older Americans Act funds. They're not entitled to the program. We pay taxes, those taxes fund this program. But it's different from county to county, because each community wants what they want. And so we say, okay, that fits the guidelines, here's how we can help. And so, that's what we're here for.
Well, we're looking for something to help you come to a happy ending on this.
Well, and you're talking about a community center, senior center, that site could be used, well, I say this. That's what y'all want to do with it.
Yeah, I think if we can just kind of clarify this into 3 categories. We've got the building, we have the Meals on Wheels program, which delivers the food to the homes of those who are signed up. And then we have the use of the kitchen inside the building to provide for the eats or the meals that are served. So if we can think about it in the context of the Commissioner's Court oversees all the county property. And certainly, historically, the use of that facility has been enjoyed. COVID interrupted it, and now we're trying to get an understanding of what to do. On the court, Mr. Blacksher oversees that property. Each of the commissioners oversees properties in behalf of the county. When East Texas Support Services was the contractor that provided for the meals that were served inside the building and delivered to the homes, that's what changed everything. They said, we're not going to do this anymore. So we appealed to our Council of Government, our DECOG liaison, and they said, here's a couple of options that we can do. One of them has been taken care of, and that's to deliver the meals to the home. So we've got that addressed. Now, the discussion is, as you heard Holly say, an administrator to oversee all of the responsibilities for that meal program that was being served inside that facility through that kitchen. So that's kind of where we are today. Certainly, we've had some discussion about the use of the facilities to lease it out in previous Commissioners Court meetings. That doesn't pertain to what the use of the facility for the seniors' purposes on a daily basis. That was strictly in the after hours or on a scheduled type of a rental purpose itself. So just so that we're all on the same page, we know we've got a facility. We know that facility has a kitchen. We know that there are those who are receiving meals delivered to their homes. So that part of it's taken care of. Now we're just moving forward to try to figure out, and I think that Mike, you've been working with Joe in trying to have a conversation about how to bring that kitchen facility back into usefulness to be able to do exactly what you're talking about, even that's make food available in a service for a nominal fee. So the grant will help to underwrite that so that it'll offset the cost, and hopefully the gentleman from Hillister will have an option in the future to be able to come back in and enjoy some meals there. So that's where we are. So Joe?
What does it take to be eligible for the Meals on Wheels? Can we be eligible for that?
Holly, can you speak to that?
Well, if you're not able to get out of your home and, or, lack of transportation or your activities, or there's some reason that you can't on a normal basis get out of your house.
Just can't cook.
Okay.
Well, and he might qualify, if he doesn't cook, and it's something, you just need to contact us and we can help you.
Holly, what's the difference in the senior designated senior center where you're not regulated on the meals like you are, what would we call it when we're regulated on the meals?
Well, would be a congregate meal program.
Okay.
And so if we pay you, and if we contract for congregate meals, we reimburse you for the number of meals served that meet the guidelines and are to eligible people.
Okay, so no contractor or vendor wanted to do that
No.
internally.
No.
So can we go out and ask for bids? Would that grant money cover, like the local restaurants do a set number of meals for however many days? Would that grant money cover it? They deliver X number of meals each day or however many days?
It could if they met the dietary.
Right,
requirements.
yeah, so we would have to have a certain menu that they
Right.
would follow through. But that's an option, that somebody not actually cooking in the building, but they would deliver meals to the building, yeah, to the kitchen, to the seniors that are there, so.
There's all kinds of ways that this could be
So-
done, so.
The other way would be if we just hired some people, is that the way that the county took it over, we would hire someone to cook?
Well, and administrative, correct.
And
Somebody would have to be to open it up and get the paperwork, the sign-in sheets, and if they're gonna serve meals, there is an intake that has to be completed and sent to us. And then we have to be billed for the monthly services.
But
Somebody-
how would it work if what did y'all say, if we don't have to meet those dietary requirements?
The senior
Senior center operations.
center.
And what we would do there is take that money that we normally allocate for meals, blend that in with the money for senior centers, and then hopefully your expenses, divide it by 12, and hopefully your expenses would be less than that per month, because that's what we would fund it for. And so that could help, and that's for your utilities, your, whatever goes in, your staffing, et cetera. I brought some budget pages, but
And then the county would add so much to it, is that what you're saying?
it is good, yes.
Now, what kind of meals did y'all have down there? I mean, what was typical?
The little steak bacon things, whatever they were, I mean, really good, whatever they were.
It doesn't sound like dietary.
No, I mean, they were,
You have to have the plan.
they were not regular, and,
Okay.
It's no bad, but it's a meal.
So
they
y'all
weren't
would,
fancy meals.
y'all would
They just
prefer
were
the
good.
senior center operations over, the planned meal, nutritional meals?
They were just simple
Sure.
meals.
Well, John,
Yes,
a
ma'am.
lot of, not a lot, but several of these seniors who have had anniversary parties, birthday parties, they use the facility whenever they can get it for that purpose. They haven't had too many, but they have had some. We had a dance step one day.
Had what?
We had a dance step.
Oh, a dance.
Valentine's Day.
And that all falls under the senior.
Right, and what you do is just have that party or whatever, that function in that time that you're open every day.
That's why I was asking if it was a community, because when we had it, we had to get an exemption for our event.
And with doing it after hours, I mean, you're supposed to have your own insurance. There's such a tremendous liability with anything that goes on with that. And so that's like Judge said, that's totally separate from what goes on, because this is the senior center.
Yeah.
And if y'all want to have a dance, anniversary party,
But it was during the day.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. it
There's
is.
no
Yes,
cooperating.
We
ma'am.
had lunch and then, one
You
of
don't
the,
need to yell no more.
older gentlemen brought a, CD player. And I had been already told that I was a Baptist and I shouldn't dance. They told me that at the church luncheon. So I go up to this guy, just getting ready to play the music. And I said, do you dance? He said, yes. I said, are you a Baptist? He said, yes, but I got Methodist feet.
So what time was the center, what time did it used to open in the morning? What,
8
o'clock.
okay,
And it's supposed to be open at 8 o'clock every day.
We're there till about
Well,
three.
by
My course would be out there by 3.
Okay. So how many people come at 8? Did y'all come at 8 and start playing
About
games?
9:30 to
Well-
before we play bingo, because we do exercises there too.
Okay.
And bingo, and like this Wednesday, they have somebody coming over and talk to us about insurance before bingo.
Well, the judge might remember, before the COVID situation come along, the place was supposed to be open at 8 o'clock. A group of us, we started playing 42 at 8.
Okay.
And, a group of us got there and the door was locked. We stayed there till nearly 9. The rest of, everybody else went home. I came and saw the judge, and he was in the office with Jessica and your secretary. And they found out 8 o'clock. And ever since then, I don't know what was said to the people over there, but the door was open by 8 o'clock every morning.
And what I'm trying to find out is a normal time, because we're gonna have to pay somebody to be there. So if people are there at 8 o'clock using it, that's fine, but we don't wanna pay somebody at 8 o'clock and everybody show up at 9 o'clock.
The way I see it is that they want us out there about 3 o'clock, so they'll have time to clean and lock it by 5.
And really, there's people over there all the time, like Jessica and other people that open the building
Yeah,
up.
but you're like to keep a record of who's coming in, the number of people coming in is what I'm.
Well, we
It's
sign
for
in,
the-
when we come in
is
and play bingo, we sign in,
Okay.
everybody that plays.
Is it for the
everybody does
meals
something.
too, or for fun entry period,
If they serve meals, they sign in for the meal.
just for the meals and then,
Because that backs up the bill.
okay.
If they come in for senior center operations, they sign in and then.
Okay,
we just
okay.
have to-
So they'll have to do both.
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you just need numbers of people coming in for the.
Well, it depends on what we contract you for. I mean, if you're doing one, a general, a blanket operation, we just need one sign in.
Okay.
And if you're doing a different service like congregate meals and exercise and, some of these transportation or any of the other ones, then we'd have to have a sign-in sheet for each one.
Okay, they do exercise down there now.
So what were those budgets that you said you had there comparable to Tyler County?
I don't have any figures yet, so I don't have any planning figures,
Okay.
but
We need lots of money.
we have received a lot of pandemic funds, and so our budget's really doubled for the next couple of years.
Okay.
So when we visited Newton County, was telling it's a good time to start a program. Now, it will come back and eventually get back to normal, and we'll be back to our normal funding, but if I remember right, I didn't bring that today, but I think that Tyler County is due somewhere between $80,000 and $90,000 to have fund services in this county. So,
And that's for a 2-year cycle.
now that's for per year.
Okay, thank you.
Normally, it's about 70 to 75
Per year.
per year, yes. It's based on a planning figure on, what we run numbers on.
So some of the other counties that the vendors are not bidding on cooking meals, are they going to like an outside restaurant and getting meals? What are the other counties doing?
We have the senior center operations, and the people just bring in potluck. They bring in sandwiches.
The participants bring food in.
Bring in, and then they just so they can have to get together, play bingo, do some exercise, whatever they want to do. We have one that, the county extension oversees the kitchen, and the county buys the food, and the extension has, they kind of cook just simple meals. And we don't buy the meals, but we pay for the senior center operations. Then we have those that are cooking concrete meals, and they're cooking home delivered meals, they're doing exercise, and they're still doing the senior center operations because they're having activities like bingo and art classes and things of this nature, so that covers that. So it's.
So as far as utilities on the building, we're paying utilities no matter if
Yeah,
they're
we're already
there or
doing
not. It's
Really, we're just looking, if the county takes it over, we're just looking at staff.
staff, yeah.
Yeah.
And you already have an assigned personnel that's there. I mean, she's there before 8 o'clock every
That's
day.
it, cleaning.
Yeah, I mean, she's taking
She's
care of the whole facility.
But the biggest bathrooms in town.
And she doesn't leave until, what, 4:30 or so in the afternoon, so she's,
Yeah.
there to.
But y'all didn't know this,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
they used to, the commissioner used to have a meeting with 3 of the seniors every so often, and that was before the violence. So I didn't know if y'all.
Oh, I'd like to get that started. I had no idea about that, but that would be, I go by there periodically and check with everybody.
How were y'all elected? Were you voted on?
No, I was appointed. But anyway, we met with Nash back there in the back room every so often. back
Yeah.
there. He corrected whatever was happening in the center. It worked pretty good.
Okay.
We didn't have any trouble until COVID came along.
Mhm.
Came along, all that.
COVID messed all kinds of things up.
Well, I hope it's gone.
So would y'all be open to bringing your whatever food wise, or do y'all want us to look forward at trying to either hire cooks or either go out externally for meals or something like that? What is your
It's the
desire?
meals in that center for the people that need it. There's a lot of people that are on low income and everything, and they counted on those meals.
Yes. That's from talking to people, that's the general idea I get, that they want to cook there and the reduced price meals because times are tough.
Well, this was a good thing for the seniors, and this is all they have. And don't even have that now. But it's not like they're looking for something free.
Oh, we don't think
It's
that.
just a way to get out and get with your friends, have fellowship, have
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
We
that
want to
was the
restore
word I
that.
was looking for.
And that meant a lot to a lot of them. And we had people coming in, you know, with canes and with walkers. That was their way of getting out for the day.
Sure.
You know, on a special day that they could. So we're just here just hoping
Sure.
something good will come from this.
Gary, you've got some additional comments?
Oh, yeah, like in my case, you know, I stayed by myself, of course, technically there's 3 of us, me, myself, and I, but none of us want to cook, even though we know how and all that, so it's always nice to get out and taste what somebody else does, I guess, like to cook, you know.
I live on corn
Oh, Ms. Anderson,
lunch and dinner.
okay.
Corn dog.
So as far as if the county goes the route of doing this, we just need to find someone to be the administrator of keeping all the paperwork done and a cook.
Probably have us because our contract would be with the county, and y'all would decide what personnel. Someone that would, I guess, bring it to the court, say this is what's going on, and this is what bills need to pay, and this is what we're invoicing debt for.
So we'd have to do that every,
Every month, and then we would be reimbursing the county. And the county's contribution for utilities and the building, these funds have to be matched by 10%, that counts as the match.
Okay,
So.
we could include those as our match.
Yes, and I'll be glad to work on a budget with y'all, you know, I brought some samples here, things for you to consider to go into the cost of that. We want to see it be a success. And we want to see the people of Tyler County have what they want. And it's an opportunity, if you start something and you can see how it can grow, and we can add services or change them to whatever you want it to do.
well, I do think we have I've heard of two cooks that are interested. One that was actually working with East Texas Support Services. So that there's one and there's another that's interested. I mean, I feel like we could go, just need to get the guidance on, you know, how to do it.
Well, I'll be glad, sometime I'm here to help you in any way I can.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
Well, I guess the first thing we need to do is decide on, you know, staff and how many and work on the budget like you're saying.
Well, and if the county, you know, just let us know if the county would accept that contract.
Okay.
And, in Newton County, I think what they did there, they assigned a person that worked in one of the commissioner's offices is helping to keep up with the administrative part of it. They're starting home delivered and congregate meals.
Okay.
And now I think they're gonna add some things to it, but they have a plan where they'll start simple and grow. And so, but like I said, it's to be tailored to what the community wants.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Our pleasure.
Appreciate those very much.
How many people do we need in the kitchen, where do you think? Two.
I think there's three, how about three?
Yeah, I've seen one cook do 100 meals a day, and I've seen 3 cooks do 15. So
How many meals a day
We used to have
would
three,
normal?
didn't we? We used to have three, two, and sometimes three.
And
How many meals a day would they prepare? How many people come normally, or used to come normally?
Breakfast and lunch.
I know we were always
Just
going on
lunch.
Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. So, because we used to do exercise on Mondays.
We don't have
40
to
or
have-
50 people,
We
or?
don't have to have anything every day.
Well,
Whatever we can get, we'll take.
40 or 50 meals a
Well,
day, is that?
yeah.
They limited it to 40 meals, that's
Okay.
all they would prepare.
40,
Yeah.
okay.
And if you didn't get there in time, then you was
You get there early if you want to eat.
Yeah.
So it was pretty much average around 40.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, you sign in, you get a ticket, and when they run out of tickets, that's it.
Okay.
I would say that in the current times we live in, that number might very well increase though.
Yeah.
Because it's hard, when you go buy groceries,
Yeah.
if people are on a very fixed income, they have to make decisions.
And see, with us doing it as a senior operation, we can actually go over the 40, correct?
well, and as I say, we could do that probably anyway, because there's some flexibility between the funding sources, so you can add more to one service and one to the other. I think that they were limited to 40 because that's what their budget was, but I will say, East Texas Support Service didn't always draw all the funding down by limiting it to 40.
But we sure don't want to leave anybody hungry. So,
Yeah.
And there is a big initiative right now, no person in Texas to go hungry.
Okay.
So,
Does Tyler County have a nutritionist? And,
Oh, when I was over the jail,
I might have to go eat them.
when I was over the jail, we had to contract with the nutritionist that was
I had
the
good meals
hospital.
in prison when I worked there.
So it's an outside contract, but it's only, like at the jail, they had to come up with a plan,
Yeah.
nutritional plan that you had to follow.
So
Like
we
every
don't
year
have to
they
do
had
that
to
on
do
the center,
this.
correct?
no, but if you should decide, we do have menus that's available to you.
Okay.
But if we don't have to go by it, if we don't want
Yeah.
to, we can feed them fried chicken.
But, and it's not that, it's the amount of, nutrient and calories that you get.
Right.
It could be
Yeah.
fried chicken, but I learned this in there, that the black-eyed peas, it takes 3 times the black-eyed peas to equal what purple hull is. So
Right.
it takes 3 cups of purple, black eyes, nutritionally wise, to get the same nutrition out of 1 cup of purple hull peas. And so it's a lot more peas, but your belly gets full, but you're not getting much nutrition.
What about
So
sprouter peas?
We did not allow crowd peas to be served.
That's my favorite.
Okay, to reel us back in here, what do we need to do if we all decide? I kind of feel like, hearing discussions that we, are leaning towards the senior and the county doing the contract. So what do I need to do, or anybody on the court at this point, to get it headed in that direction?
Well, if the county wants to be the contractor, I guess you would need to get the commissioners to get a vote on that and say,
Okay.
yes, we're gonna be the contractor.
Okay,
And then what we would start to sit down and do a budget for the services you wanna provide. And then y'all would set up you set up your schedule and who you wanna hire, and then we put all this together and say, okay, we have this, and this is how much we can reimburse you each month, and this is what you have to do that, and we'll keep it as simple as possible.
So you need to hear from them what services they want. And
Yeah,
then that way we can put it into
And
the
that-
budget
and that would be great if you've got a group that will talk to you that's saying, hey, we want this first, and then we want to go over this, or we just want this, or we want it 3 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever.
Okay.
I point you, Joe, to me.
That is perfect. Well,
I think the bottom line is.
we probably need to get rolling on this pretty quick.
Yes, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We need to get it on the agenda so we can.
Yes. Are y'all gonna be down there tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, well, I'll be there. I'll come, I guess around 8:30, 9. Is that good with y'all or too early?
Bingo's at 10:30.
I get there at 9 and start setting things up.
Okay, so I'll get there around 9. And, we can just sit down and talk about this and see what y'all want as a whole and go from there.
And then Joe can bring that back to regular court on the agenda item and we can actually vote and make
So,
things
yeah, so
start.
at 9:30, we've got the lady coming to talk to us about insurance.
Oh, tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, between 9 and
Between 9 and 9:30?
9 and 9:30.
So let's do it after
If you
she
plan
gets
to
done.
stay for lunch, bring your own lunch.
I'll go ahead and put it on my calendar for around 9:45.
Okay, that sounds good.
Anything further for the workshop?
We're done.
No, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, stand adjourned.
Thanks.